The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Aging Horizon. I'm your host, Wilmot Collins. Today we have Joe Gilboy, Executive Director for Area 5 Agency on Aging. He will be discussing what they do in their area. He has a big area, so stay tuned and we will be right back.
Someone who said they were from Medicare called and asked for my personal information.
I noticed a charge on my Medicare statement for a test I don't remember having.
I got a letter offering me free medical equipment if I gave them my Medicare number.
Something didn't seem right.
It seemed too good to be true.
If something seems odd, it's probably fraud. Call Senior Medicare Patrol at 800-551-3191 to report fraud. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Hey caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
When the weather's good, I gotta get away for some fishing, and that's a must.
Fred Dahlbeck. Clancy.
My grandson tells me we suck at golf. Fun though. And there's never enough time to keep the old 57 Chevy happy.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Come on, girl.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
We're back, and today we're talking to Joe Gilboy, Executive Director for the Area 5 Southwest Montana Aging and Disability Services. This is your host, Wilmot Collins, and this program, Aging Horizons, is brought to you by the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
Joe, I see you're in Area 5, the Agency on Aging. What is it you do, Joe?
So Area 5 is one of 9 area agencies on aging in the state of Montana. Area agencies were established under the Older Americans Act. So you'll find area agencies all over the nation. And they're all designated with implementing Older Americans Act services within a certain service area. And we go, in the state of Montana, we all have a certain number of counties that we cover. And it ranges from, we have several area agencies that cover 1 county, and then in eastern Montana, they actually cover 17 counties. I believe they're the largest area agency in the nation and smallest in population. So if that doesn't describe Montana, I don't know what does. But we cover 6 counties in southwest Montana: Beaverhead, Deer Lodge, Granite, Madison, Powell, and Silver Bow counties. And so our job is to implement Older Americans Act services. Most people are kind of most familiar with home delivered meals, or people like to call them Meals on Wheels. Although Meals on Wheels is actually a specific program, but they don't seem to mind everybody using their name because everybody seems to recognize that. Right. But also senior centers, transportation. There's a myriad of services offered under the Older Americans Act that you can utilize those funds to support. I mean, what we do is look at what we feel is most important and needed in our communities, and try to fill those gaps as best we can. given the resources that we have.
So I see you have a list of programs. What's the evidence-based health?
So evidence-based health would be a program that's already established. The one we have going in my area is called Sit and Be Fit. So it's a program that's been developed and proven that there are outcomes to it. So by doing this program, you will see progress. So with their specific designated funds, they're called Title 3D health funds, that they have to go towards programs that have that kind of designation of being evidence-based, that they're a proven commodity. So we have two different sites within our area, one in Butte and one in Deer Lodge, that actually do a Sit and Be Fit exercise program.
All right. SHIP. What is SHIP?
So SHIP stands for State Health Insurance Assistance Program. And basically what it is we have staff who are trained in Medicare, and they are trained to help beneficiaries to navigate the Medicare system. And it's kind of interesting for me. When I was first trained as a SHIP counselor, it was back in, I believe, 98, when I was still the director of the Senior Center. So it was before the prescription drug coverage and all these different things with Medicare. So back then it was pretty straightforward. The majority of seniors, when they came onto Medicare, were already collecting Social Security, so they're automatically enrolled. It went pretty straightforward. There wasn't much else to choose except maybe a supplement. Now you have to choose a drug plan. You have these Medicare Advantage plans, which is a whole different set where you go with a private company that basically administers your Medicare for you. So there's a lot more choices to make. So that's a big thing for us to be available. We don't care what plan you choose. We don't care what company you go with. We're just here to give you information so you can make an informed decision about your Medicare coverage. And now, it's switched. Like I said, when I started, most of the people were already retired collecting Social Security. Now people, when they become eligible for Medicare, are still working. And it's a whole different process, because then you actively have to sign up for your Medicare. And then there's a lot of navigation as far as if you're getting benefits at work and how those work together. So there's quite a bit more to it than there used to be.
So, Joe, all these programs that you have, are they all within the 6 states? Do you provide those programs in all six counties?
It varies. So, like the SHIP program is basically administered through us. So we do provide that to all 6 counties. We have staff we got every year during the annual open enrollment period, and we'll do sign-up sessions. We'll hit some of our various cities with, the bigger cities within our counties that want us to come. And then some of the other programs that we contract out, such as the nutrition programs, transportation, homemaker, those kind of vary depending on which county you're in. And that's where kind of a nice thing under the Older Americans Act is it's very autonomous. It allows you the ability to kind of adjust to your community. So I always give the example, here in Butte, they do homemaker services because they can reach a lot of people with the given funding with that. But in Dillon, they actually pay a home health nurse to do home health because they don't really have a lot of home health opportunities down there. Where in Butte, there's multiple home health companies. So those are the type of things we look at, and we do a 4-year planning period where we look at, okay, what's available, what can we help provide, where are their shortcomings, and what's the best way to use our funds. So when you go county to county, you see different things. The one thing that you will find in all of my counties is a nutrition program.
Good.
Congregate meals at the center, and then home delivery meals.
Great. And thanks for all that information, Joe. I want you to know my audience will be very happy. We have been talking to Joe Gilboy. He's the Executive Director for Area 5 Agency on Aging. Stay tuned and we will be right back.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
Today, class, we'll be discussing the term ombudsman, a word we borrowed from the Swedes and never gave back. Say you're a resident or you have a loved one in long-term care. Now, what do you do if you're not happy with the care and services you receive? You call your long-term care ombudsman, of course. Your ombudsman is available to support you and your rights. An advocate on your behalf could be the ticket. This is your home. If you have questions, the numbers right there below me have all the answers. Class dismissed.
I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1992, and I went into denial. It made me angry. I was a professional chef, and I didn't want to change my eating style. It took me a long time to get serious about managing my health. My perspective changed from resentment to one of loving my body, the container for my spirit. Getting help from my diabetes educator supported my goals of improved self-care. I want to feel good and have a great life. My diabetes educator helps me do this.
A message from FireSafe Montana. At FireSafe Montana, we have years of experience working with effective forest management plans. Planning is a key part of creating a healthy forest and being able to manage wildland fire. Which do you think looks better, this or this, where a well-designed fuel reduction plan was implemented? We can help you design a workable mitigation plan. This message brought to you by FireSafe Montana and aired by the Montana Broadcasters Association.
We're back, and we have been talking to Joe Gilboy, Executive Director for Area 5, Area Agency on Aging. Joe, thanks so much for all this valuable information. Now, let's talk about some of the support, the needed support you talked about. What are some of those needed supports?
So, all of our programs receive some federal and state funding under the Older Americans Act, but what's normally not really understood by people is those funds are meant to for us to target the most needy individuals, those who, couldn't afford such services otherwise. And then for us to provide to more people, they're asked to contribute towards those programs. And that becomes a very large part of what we're able to do. Without that local support, without people contributing towards their meals or other services or general donations. All of our contractors have to fundraise to make ends meet. We wouldn't be able to keep providing these services. So it's vitally important that people understand that although we do get some federal and state funding, it was never meant to pay for everything. And so for us to be able to do more for people and provide to more people, we need to get that local support. And so we've been trying in my area to kind of get that word out a little more to people so they understand, because there tends to be kind of a thought that, oh, well, you get federal funds, or even, and I've had this kind of semantic argument with seniors at times that, hey, we fought World War II, we deserve this. Yes, that's true, maybe you do, but the reality is the funds were never meant to pay for everything. So if we don't contribute to our local programs, they're not going to be able to continue to serve as they are, and especially, since COVID, expenses have just skyrocketed, and food costs and all these things are really, far exceeding what we've been able to do. So we really need support as much as possible.
So, Joe, a program like the nutrition program, how many have you served over the past year, so to speak? And what are the costs for that program?
So when I kind of broke down in my area and looked at what they were serving, the average cost of the meal in my area, what it's costing them to produce is around $10, and I think it was 21 cents or something around that. So for each meal, and then they're serving, the Belmont here in Butte serves close to 100 people a day on home delivered meals, and then, get another 40 to 50 at their site. Area wide, we served, well over 4,000 meals in fiscal year 2024. So, you can imagine that at an average of $10. And for some of the smaller sites, it's even more, just because it depends on the facilities they have and the equipment they have and things like that. So it's very costly to provide these meals for us. And so, that's where we need that help as much as possible.
Great. And I see you have the overall senior center program. That's another program that costs a lot of money, and people do attend the senior centers. So give us an idea, the cost and how many people attend those centers.
So yeah, the senior center activities are kind of a huge thing. A big part of the reason for these services is, to help people not only remain home, and active in their lives, but also, to keep socialized. And especially, I think we learned a lot with COVID, how awful that can be when you're isolated and you don't have any place to go or anybody to talk to. So these programs are terribly important for, giving people an outlet, a place to go where they can socialize with people, where they can do activities and they can do other things. So, a lot of those people, those, 4,000 some we serve meals to, they're also accessing, bingo and other activities, exercise classes, all these things that are terribly important. But, to do that, you need a facility. You need, and that's costly, when you talk about, and again, not just food costs have gone up. So have heating bills and, those that pay rent and all these things. So it's costly. Plus you have staffing. You need people to be there to, keep the building clean and organized and safe. And you need people to manage these programs. So, all together, you just imagine running any sort of business if you're running a spa or a gym or, anything like that, or a restaurant. These guys are facing the same costs that those people are. But they're doing it. They're all, nonprofits, and they're all trying to do it as best they can. And to be, I always like to compliment them, especially my smaller sites in my area. They do an amazing job. They really do with very little. It kind of astounds me how much they can do on what little they have to work with. But, we're getting to the point where the baling wire and duct tape is starting to give away. We've got to find a better way to be able to do this, or we're not going to be able to continue to serve the numbers we're serving now.
Oh, wow. Well, Joe, I see we have a lot of other programs. You have something like the overall transportation program. You have the evidence-based health promotion programs. You have the non-evidence-based health promotion programs. You have the caregivers program. All of these programs cost money. All of these programs cost time. And so, yes, I'm happy that you are able to bring some numbers to my audience so they can know that, these programs, even though you have federal funding, but the federal funding is not as much as we may think. So
yeah, overall, the federal funds are covering around 30-some% now, over the last 10 years. So that's a lot, 70% of their costs, they're trying to make up in other ways.
Right. So we will be right back. You stay tuned, and I'm speaking to Joe Gilboy. He will be right back.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, you may well feel devastated, but know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
It's been 27 years. I never thought I'd still be smoking, but here I am, COPD and all. I'm about to have a granddaughter. There's so much to show her, but I'm scared I won't be able to keep up like I used to. I kind of gave up on myself on quitting. But it's different now. I want to be here for her and for my daughter.
Every generation produces heroes, men and women who step forward to defend our country in time of need, no matter the personal cost to themselves. And though we can never fully repay them, we can make sure they have access to low-cost, long-term care when they need it. That's what Montana's Veterans Homes are all about. If you've got a hero in need in your family, call us. We can help.
This is Sergeant Jones. Please respond. I was separated from my squad. Requesting backup. Anyone? Please respond. I'm all alone here.
We're back, and we have been talking to Joe Gilboy of Area 5. And Joe is now about to tell us about his fun-free fair. Joe, I see you have a free fun fair coming up in May. Tell us a little bit about your fair.
So this is an annual event that, and actually where it came from was years ago, they had split the governor's conference. And we were one of the first to host one half of the governor's conference. It was a day of state activities, and the next day was kind of locally planned. So at that time, we put together a committee to plan for the governor's conference. And the next year, Michelle Brennick, who was the leader of the retired senior volunteer program here in Butte, contacted me and said, we should do something to celebrate Older Americans Month. And I said, well, let's put the band back together, so to speak, the people that helped with the governor's conference. And when we got together, we didn't want to just do another health fair because there's plenty of those. And as we got going, we kind of came up with this idea of kind of a combined health fair, carnival, entertainment, and it's kind of grown over the years. So we asked each of our vendors to do some sort of interactive event, either a game or, health check or something along those lines. And then we have entertainers throughout the day that perform for the people. We provide a lunch. The Belmont Center puts that together for us. It's basically a sack lunch, but a nice, healthy sack lunch. We have pop and water and different things. Everything's completely free to those who attend the event. And then we go out and solicit gifts from various organizations in the community. And we raffle off prizes throughout the day also. And that's also the cost to the vendor is you have to bring some sort of gift that we can raffle off to the people.
Good,
so it's really a fun event. This is our 11th time we're doing it. I was going to say 11th year, but for about 3 years there through COVID and that we didn't. This is only this is going to be our third year back after COVID. But before COVID, we had over 350 people.
Wow.
Last year we were back up to about 200 and a little over 250. So we're building back up there. But yeah, it's quite a fun event. Even the vendors look forward to it. I mean, I have them contacting me. Oh, we doing that event again? Because it's, there's a lot of them that they do a lot of health fairs and they're, and you go and wears out. Well, this is an event where it's very interactive and they get, it's playing games with people. So they look forward to it, I think, as much as our seniors that attend it.
Great. So before we go further, I want you to tell us about when is it, where is it, how can my audience get there to be a part of that? So tell us.
Okay, so the event's going to be on May 2nd, which is a Friday. It starts at 10 o'clock and it'll run till 2 p.m. Lunch will be served at noon. We have an entertainer who will perform, while they eat. But the booths will open at 10 a.m. It's at the Star Lanes Event Center here in Butte, which is at 4601 Harrison Avenue. It's basically Star Lanes is the bowling alley, and behind it they have an event center. And so, and we welcome anybody, even, if you're taking care of your grandkids, bring them along. If somebody's, younger and wants to bring their parents, that's fine with us. We don't, it's directed for seniors because it celebrates Older American Month, but we don't restrict, we're not turning anybody away to the.
So Joe, is this a free event? Because I heard you saying everything is free, but is it another way to raise funds for your agency, or it's just totally free? It's
just a completely free event to celebrate Older American Month. We don't certainly the vendors advertise their wares, but we don't ask anything. The only thing we have, we do a 50-50 because it is Butte and Butte and Anaconda are the main 50-50 places. I always laugh. I went to a Butte Central Anaconda high school football game, and the split for the 50-50 was $1,200. And the next day I went to a Montana State game, and the split was, I think, $450. So they love their 50-50 here in Butte. So we do get a little money off that because 50% goes, but it basically just goes to help cover some of the costs we have of doing this, putting together posters, different things like that. It's not designed to raise money. It's just designed for people to come and have fun.
So who are some of the vendors that you're going to have at your event? Who are some of those vendors?
So we get various home health organizations here in town. We have several of the nursing homes. We have the senior living facilities. So there's quite a few different. The AmeriCorps usually has a booth there. So there's a lot of information too that people can gather when they come. Like any other sort of health fair, there's a lot of information and a lot of people they can talk to. So it's not just to come and have fun and enjoy and see the entertainment and eat. You can also gather some pretty good information about what's available in our community.
That is great, Joe. I am looking forward to coming there also. So I'm going to put it on my calendar for May 2nd, 10 to 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
10 to 2 o'clock, right? So do you have any final words you want to tell my audience?
I do want to mention that, one of the other things that we do through our agency, mostly directly, is we try to help people get connected with services that may help them, whether it's Energy Share or SNAP or Medicaid or Medicare. And of course, one of the big things that we talked earlier about the SHIP program is helping people get connected with programs that help with their Medicare costs, like the Medicare Savings Program. That's a huge help for people that may struggle to put things together.
Right.
And it kind of goes into that whole picture when we look at somebody. If you can help them save money on their drugs or save money on their Medicare costs, and that's a little more money they can put towards heat or food, and vice versa. So that's a very, very important program that we really try to make sure people are aware of. And whether you think you qualify or not, let us know. We can certainly look for you.
Thank you. We have been talking to Joe Gilbert, Executive Director for Area Agency number 5. This is Aging Horizon, a program brought to you by the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Wilmot Collins, signing off.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.